Hi everyone, welcome back to the workshop. So we're on something a little bit different today. A friend of mine has had a bit of an incident with one of his crawlers and seemed to have some wire damage, if you can see it here and here, to quite a considerable servo. So this is a Holmes Hobby direct power servo. Obviously not cheap, so if we can repair this, then obviously save them quite a lot of money. And also a Hobbywing Quick Run Fusion Pro. It's a 2300 kV version, 540 spec, and it's had a wire burnout. I don't know if you can see that. Never seen this happen before, but that's properly melted that. So what we're going to do, going to open them up, have a look inside and see if we can reroute through the grommets, and hopefully we can use a couple of these leads to repair it. So let's get them opened up, have a look inside, see what we're dealing with and see if we can't repair them. So I think we'll start with the Fusion Pro first, because I've had one of these open before. I had one of these that the bearings had failed in, and I did manage to strip it down, clean it up inside. Got a new set of bearings for it, just some Amazon, but ones that I'd heard of, and I did manage to repair it, and lo and behold, probably 2 years down the line maybe, still going strong. So that saved me a lot of money, and there was nothing wrong with the actual motor itself, it was just the bearings had gone. I think it might have taken an impact at some point. It wasn't one that I'd previously owned, it was one that I picked up in a used model, and yeah, unfortunately it had suffered some damage. So we've got the screws out, you've got just 4 screws around the perimeter. Just having a feel under that sticker. No, there's not another one under there. So you've got 4 screws around there, and the end cap just pops off. So what are we dealing with here? Straight away we're into the dreaded epoxy resin. So I'll turn the camera off, and I'll see if I can maybe cut a way through that, but it's not looking great for this one at the moment, but bear with me, I'll see what I can do. So I'm just having a look round, just trying to see what the cause of the failure was. But if you look here, you can see some water staining. So I think what's happened is water's got in there, it's actually got behind this epoxy and somehow shorted it out. So I'm not overly hopeful for this. He has checked it with the wires pulled away from each other, and apparently it does still power up. So not to say that it runs, but it does power up, but we'll see. Right, so I've just put a little bit of heat into the motor just to try and manipulate the wires a little bit. So I'm just going to let that cool down, and while we do, let's have a look at the servo. So normally on a servo, you've got a top and a bottom cap. Obviously all the gears etc are up here, and then all the gubbins are at the bottom. So I think what we do, seeing as the wires are closest to the bottom, we'll take those 4 screws out, have a look under the cap, and then see what we're dealing with there. Hopefully we haven't got that same epoxy issue that we've got with the motor. Thing with all this stuff, it's nice to fix it if you can, but sometimes you just got to admit that, you know, they make them in such a way that you can't do anything with them. So there we go, bottom cap's come off. We'll just look inside, and although it's got a bit of epoxy on it, I can actually see all of the contacts for the wires there. So hopefully we can pick that away. Yeah, that will pick away, and then we can clean that up, and fingers crossed we can get those wires soldered. So I'm just going to clean that up off camera because it's going to be boring to watch, and then we'll come back in a minute and see if we can actually do anything with it. Okay, so I've got the servo part, and from what I can see, it's connected to the motor with this series of connectors here, and these are all soldered. So I think what I'm going to have to do is get some flux on there and some solder wick and desolder those, and then hopefully we can lift this board right off and we can get to those connectors much better, because at the moment the wires are in the body and they're underneath that board and I can't get to them, so I think that's going to be the only way in. So what we do first, we hit them with some low melt solder. That'll just make it much easier to flow. There we go. So a little bit of flux on there, and that should make that wick off a bit easier. There we go, so hopefully you can see that's all soldered back up. Got new wires on there, new connectors, and all we've got to do now is put the plugs back on the ends. Okay, so have we been successful? Yes, we have with the servo. I'll show you this first, just because I want to obviously prove that it's working. I've rigged it up to a temporary jig. Basically, I'm just using the receiver so that I've got control over it. So I'm running the direct power from this 2S rather than through the receiver, and I hope you can see that is working perfectly. So I'm just using my spectrum just to prove it works. Let me just unplug it all because it's going to buzz and beep and God knows what else in the background. So there we go. It was obviously the wires were damaged right up here near the gland, and I managed to, it's interesting because this gland actually unscrews, so if you can see those two tiny holes either side, that's threaded into the body. It's like an aluminium body, CNC machined. You'll hear me say CNC machined a lot because it's something I'm very, very into. It only needed 2 wires, so what I've done, I've left the 3 wires for the majority of this just to give it a bit of strength, and then I've trimmed it just short the 1 wire that it didn't require. I'm not a rapper, but obviously that rhymes. And yeah, so we've got all new wires there. I've replaced the power wires with silicone as well, which is better than what was on there before. And yeah, we've got a nice working, it's a Holmes Hobby BLS SHV 500 V3 brushless 12 volt servo. So obviously direct power, brilliant for those crawlers, heavy crawlers, or just like a competition rig. The only downside is it's quite heavy. So if you're going for minimal weight, it's probably not the best one to have. Although obviously it's going to be up front, so it could work to your advantage. So let's move on to the motor. So I have managed to replace the wires. I haven't tested it yet. I do not recommend doing this at all. It was an absolute nightmare. So if you remember, it had that epoxy inside. I couldn't get that to shift at all. I tried warming it up with my hot air gun. It wouldn't shift at all. So I kept trimming the wire back and back and back. Let me just show you the previous wire, what I was dealing with. So I'm not quite sure how. Yeah, so not much good that. And it had melted all the way back to just inside the motor housing itself. So when I say I had maybe 5mm of wire to try and affix to, I'm not kidding. Yeah, hopefully that will now be a working motor. So I'm just going to rig something up. It does power. So that's a 3S. So we get our 3 beeps. So I just need to plug it into a receiver and give it a test and see if we actually get any power out of it. Right, so I've just got it powered up with this 3S. Obviously this is providing the power to my receiver, and we'll just shut it off. So we go through the full cycle. So imagine you just connected your battery in, powered it up, so you get your 3 beeps for 3S, then you get a last beep just to say everything is okay, and hopefully you can hear that. And that is running. So I will take that as a success. Yeah, as I said, I do not recommend doing it. It's no longer waterproof, so I'm going to have to say that to the owner. You probably could conformal coat it in some way, but I wouldn't want to guarantee it. Certainly wouldn't want to put my name to the waterproofness of it. But I know they run LCG rigs, etc. So hopefully they'll be able to run it on that and no issues whatsoever. So video started. Can you repair these things? Well, the answer is yes. Is it easy? No. Like I said, if you're not a confident solderer, is that a word, solderer? Then I wouldn't even attempt it. It's really not very easy at all. Hopefully you can see from the video how intricate some of probably the desoldering was worse, but we have a success. And I'm pleased to say it's probably saved. I mean, what is one of these? Maybe £150, £140, something like that. And I can't imagine that the Servo is much less than that as well. So potentially we've saved 300 quid. So that's not bad going, I don't think. And yeah, I think the owner's going to be pleased. Shame about, you obviously can't make them waterproof, but I probably could do it, but I wouldn't want to put my name to it. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and a comment, because it makes all the difference to me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.